We've had a question about stress and being overloaded, so too much work. I'll read it out. I work for the NHS, so we're basically asked on a continual basis to, in inverted commas, to fit a quart into a pint pot. So that is a form problem, a real world problem, we could say, with a solution, another pint pot. But that's not on offer, and it's not an option to say it's not possible and walk away because the patients will suffer. So I'm not sure how I can help colleagues. It looks intrinsically stressful, not just our thinking. As one doctor tweeted recently, it shouldn't be the case that it feels like a luxury to be able to have a wee on a 12-hour shift. We have a range of health and well-being initiatives, but to me it feels a bit insulting when basic needs are not met. So we'll be grateful for any insights. And I can see that not everyone finds it equally stressful. For some, it's just working in the NHS, but ... Yes. So stress at work and a feeling of overwhelm and being overloaded is is like any other stress, really, because what we're looking at through this conversation is that stress is a invitation, and often it's like way more than an invitation, it's an insistence on getting still and present with everything that's going on, to step out of that mindless, really unconscious treadmill, hamster wheel, going round and round and round, doing the same thing over and over again, living out the same beliefs, activating the same habits, the same thought processes over and over again, and expecting everything to miraculously change. Stress is saying, no, this has gone on too long, stop and get conscious, get aware, get present to the fact there's something here not working. And when we're feeling overloaded, it looks like the only solution is to do less or to have more resources. And so as the listener's saying, it's not possible to do less because there's these people suffering. And it's not possible to get more resources because this is the NHS, or National Health Service for people not in Britain. And so we're just stuck. We're just stuck, and it's relentless. And the only way the whole thing is going to stop is really when the body or the mind gives up, isn't it? Like we're depleted, exhausted and depleted. And so what is really happening with all of this? And I think it's so fascinating to switch out of that lost in. And often when we're lost in, we're in a sort of victim villain mode. We're hopeless. We're the world's against us. I'm trying my best. That sort of identification with the whole thing is hopeless. Like in a way, we're trapped inside our own story of overwhelm. But when we start getting curious, and it's quite hard to be curious because the mind doesn't want that, because it's any curiosity really is a bit of an undermining of what the mind is telling itself. But when there is space to really question, it becomes like almost fascinating, really, like watching, like a sort of anthropologist watching how a group of people behave, because we can start really seeing like where does that world view come from? So when we say, I have to do this because there are people suffering and I can't let them down, where does that end? You know, where are there people that I have to stop their suffering, and where is that not in my remit? And that's fascinating, because then we start seeing that there is a mental view of what I should do. And where has that come from? You know, we could say, well, it's my job description, but where has the compliance with the job description come from? You know, where are the inner rules? What are the inner rules about what I have to do and what I don't have to do? Because actually, that's arbitrary, really. And you can say, well, you know, I get paid for this, or if I don't do this, I'm going to lose my job, but that's still part of the same story. It's still part of the same conditioning, because what we're interested in really is to see all the dynamics at play that maintain that exhaustion without nourishment, really, without the system being so aligned, really, that any extra work is actually is a boost for the system. That's really what we want to get to. And we can only get there by really observing the programming play out. Because why is this group of people a group of people that I have to stop suffering? There might be people I'm passing in the street. There might be relatives or family at home, and what we start seeing is we can't, there's no, in a way, no rational lines that can be drawn. And so then we think, well, do I just have to go and save the world? No, we have to see what the drivers of that behavior is. Because when our behavior, our work, is being driven by a motivation to protect our self-identity, to be valuable or worthy, or to justify our existence, or to please people, to look good in front of our bosses, or to stop our own suffering by stopping the suffering of others. All of these things maintain a treadmill of activity in which we're driven by the possibility of one day being worthy enough, or ending all suffering, or being valid, being a valid person, or being secure. And that is an endless treadmill. It's an endless, endless treadmill. And like I said, the only way that ends is the body gives up, or the mind is so exhausted it just, there's no capacity in it anymore. And all of this, I'm saying all of this to draw us into a space in which we're witnessing our own behavior, we're witnessing our own programming playing out, we're witnessing the words we say, we're witnessing where that stress comes from, we're witnessing the discomfort that arises in certain moments and not in others. Because all of this is information about a conditioned idea of what we are and of how the world should be. And the more that conditioning plays out as an unconscious, unquestioned programming, the more this whole system is just trapped within it. But when behavior and words and actions are information about that system, information that ultimately will lead to the undoing of the beliefs, of the insecurities, of the that sense of lack and isolation that is driving us to death, really, then this whole system starts to come into alignment. And what happens in alignment is the exhaustion of trying to solve problems created by the mind ends, because the mind is no longer fighting its own creations. It's just involved in this now. So this setup now, the full intelligence of being, the full creativity, the full ability to conceptualize is engaged into this right now. And into this right now, then, that's where the genius is. So that's where systems are born that can help exponentially more people. That's where real problems are prioritized. That's where everything falls away that isn't true. And so the whole system is in reality responding to right now. And that's all that can be done ever. And that's what really, that I think that's our that's what we were born to do and be, really, is for the mind to be so understood that everything is working with reality, and none of the effort is going into resistance and protest and a sort of internal fight. It's just this now. And it's interesting how in this now, of course, there's time for loo breaks and for nourishment and for the health of the system and for a way of living that is entirely holistic. It's it can't be any other way, really. The system that is dragging itself to death through a misunderstanding of what's true is not sustainable, is it? It's not sustainable. The design, the stress that we're feeling, the sense of overwhelm is saying we're not in alignment here. This can't continue. And the solution is to get real, to notice, to allow the whole setup to be present to just this right now, and to respond to whatever is needed to happen right now. And that's healthy. That's sustainable. And in fact, everything then is nourishing. It becomes, it's why Mother Teresa say can kind of looked after so many. It's nourishing. Each thing isn't taking. There's such a presence and such an absence of internal fight that the whole system is healthy and aligned. Yeah, it's a big one, but it's our ultimate health we're talking about. Yeah. So thank you for that question. Lots of love. Bye.